Hello and welcome to the second installment of 10 Talk. I'm your host, Adam Mincham, and I am joined again by Seth Hutchings. That side, the wrong way. This is the last installment related to the Forrester B2B Summit that was in Austin, 2nd to 4th of May last week. And Seth, we're going to cover 3 questions related to this, similar to the last session. It's going to be around, did you achieve your strategy? Did you attend the sessions that you said you were going to attend? And what was it like to be at an event again? So I think they're the core topics. You feel good with those?
Let's discuss it. Let's get real. And I'll start the time here.
Let's hit the clock.
Okay.
All right. So first question then, did you achieve your strategy that you set out?
Great question. No, I didn't. I thought it was going to be have a session, have a really engaging conversation, have some time to go to the next section, have an engaging conversation. And it turned out to be, I did what most people did, which is I worked in the middle of sessions. There was not enough time to have conversations. I might have skipped on one of the sessions I was planning on going just because of conversations I was having with others, or, a meeting came up. So no, the strategy was not completed as planned, but not sure if that was a bad thing. There's some good conversations that were had and good work that was done. And so I don't think it was a bad thing that I did not accomplish it.
All right.
What about you?
No, I didn't achieve exactly. Similar. So for me, it was that I was just really excited to be with people again and just wanted to engage with people. And I had every intention of attending sessions. My schedule got a little bit messed up as usual. But when I was in a conversation with someone, knowing that there was a session to go to, I prioritized the conversation and that dialogue. If it was a good one, and it always was, and I just felt that people wanted to talk so much. So but I did achieve it eventually, not necessarily on site, but I did achieve it eventually. And we'll talk a little bit about that on the last question, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. So how about the sessions that you did get to attend? Like, what did you go to, and what did you find valuable?
Let me talk about the breakout sessions. I don't think we have time to go over kind of the large ones, and we'll talk about that hopefully a little bit later. But in terms of breakout sessions, I'll touch on one, which was ABM on steroids. I said I would go to that one, and I did attend that one. So that's a win I get for that little bit. And the conversation was really about going after large accounts and what that means for revenue for your organization, and where do you focus your time. And it really was, do you focus your time on money, or do you focus your time on spreading thin? And I think the value that they were trying to drive through was, well, focus on the money. What's bringing you the largest amount of revenue? And most likely it's those large businesses that will bring you those large revenue numbers. Yeah. Now there's risks with that, right? Like if you have large businesses, you're going to have more competitors in the field that you're going after, longer buying cycles, more complex buying committees. There's a lot more complexity that goes into that. But what I liked about the session is the focus on how do you define value, high revenue value, and then put your effort and your time and your resources to those high valuable revenue driver type of accounts instead of trying to spread yourself thin. So they had a great, framework on how to decide, if, in terms of the math behind saying if it's high value, long life cycle, what does that equate to revenue and ROI in the end, even down to what's the marketing budgets behind that just to get to that ROI, which I thought was very valuable. And then sitting down and actually going through a plan with these large accounts. So it might be 5, 6, 10 accounts that you're going to have a considerable amount of effort to plan for, to collaborate with sales and customer success teams on how what was the win rate, what have we done in the past, what was successful, and then go through that full plan with everybody in mind. And so I thought those were very valuable points that we see in the market of sometimes we can dilute ourselves and our time and our energy on doing everything rather than focus on maybe the most important things and finding value in that.
That's great. Sounds like a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I managed to, I got two that I wanted to talk about from my, so the first one was smarter demand, scalable ABM. The reason I was intrigued by this session, and I actually didn't attend this on site, I attended this after the fact, digitally, it was on my list, and I got to it afterwards. I thought it aligned with our belief, right? That there's almost this this tension between demand generation and account-based marketing from everything from strategy through to kind of process, right the way down to people, and then to technology as well, right? How marketing automation platforms and ABM platforms coexisting. So I wanted to learn a little bit about that, or see Forrester's perspective on it, and we're very aligned, right? They actually gave a nice stat that 82% of responders on a survey want to merge their demand and ABM teams. And I kind of think about that, our view of that, or the way that we've been looking at that, is that ABM is taking over, is replacing demand, and that the concept of leads is something that we shouldn't be talking about, and the death of the MQL, and that we should be thinking about buying groups, not an individual taking an action, but how do we roll that up to kind of look at surge or intent of a group, and that starts to look at align more to opportunities than the kind of the old way of thinking about it. And so I'm 100% behind that, and it was nice to see some stats and even some frameworks to apply there. Some of the other things that they talked about was moving the mindset away from acquisition to looking at retention and cross-sell and upsell. And you and I have talked about this a lot in the past as well. We put a piece out a little earlier this year around revenue enablement and trying to get more into the business. And our belief that really first-party data in B2B and big data in B2B comes from your customers and your accounts, so every interaction they have with everybody in the organization, and that is our consumer targeting, right? It's our version of it in B2B. And so I think it's important for marketers to be more involved in that. And I think it's more strategically important to a lot of B2Bs. I still think a vast majority of revenue comes from current clients, enterprise clients, with cross-sell and upsell opportunities. So I was really aligned to that. The other one that I went to was the insights-driven business. And again, obviously, we're an insights company, we're an analytics business, so I was interested in that. They talk about insights-driven organizations, and they say only 8%, or they believe only 8% of organizations are truly insights-driven. And I would tend to agree with that conceptually, right? That a lot of people—
a low number. I mean, that sounds like a really low number.
It sounds like a really low number. And I think the way they're defining it is that you kind of have a centralized perspective, and you have a really strong organization that when you define an insight, when you define a number, you are actually taking action on it. And I think that's one of the key things that are a problem with non-insight driven organizations, is they're generating a lot of data, generating a lot of numbers, but a lot of times it's kind of like woods for the trees, and you can't really understand, well, what's actionable and what am I going to do about it? And that last piece is not about having a really, really great analytics team that can build really good models. That's about communicating the value of it, right? And democratizing that value across the organization, and be involved in change management activities, and engaging with leaders to say, yes, we're going to stop doing X process, we're going to trust this data, and we're going to do Y process, and we're going to start training this engine to become the center of all the decisioning that we have. And I believe that 92% of companies are not doing that. So that's where I believe it's true, and I thought that was really interesting. And I think some of the ramifications that they covered in that was the creators are overstretched. They got too many requests for too many questions, and it's hard to delineate what's a valuable question from what's not. And then users are overwhelmed with just the sheer volume of numbers that are being thrown at them, and determining what's actionable and what's not. And so it creates distrust in that process, and there's a whole change element that needs to go with that, and I really believe in that. So another great session.
That's great. I think with that, the saying is, you're data rich but insights poor. And you and I have talked a lot about, democratization of those insights.
That's right.
How do we really get that right? So I like that.
So with 1 minute and 30 seconds to go, what's your 3 things about going back to a live event? What's your top list?
3 things. Number 1, I love, Adam, something that you came up with, which was AI, which is actual intelligence and artificial intelligence. You digitally get more artificial intelligence. It's not conversational. It's very one way. I love the actual intelligent conversations that we had. And there's some, I think individuals wanted to talk about hey, I see this issue, I recognize this, now let's talk about it, versus on digitally, you can't have that experience.
Yeah.
Number two, it was great to be in a location and spending all day at a location outside of, I mean, I love my office, but it's great to get out and get some fresh air. Third, it was good to have the amount of content that you can learn from every single day. I like learning, and it's a great thing.
All right.
How about you?
I'm aligned. I mean, if I put it simply, I'd say live events are a premium. Getting people to a live thing is a premium now. I'd say let's reduce it. Let's not have so many presentations. When we've got people in a room, let's engage, let's workshop, let's use that time as humans to interact. Don't present at people. Save the presenting at people to be something that we can do digitally after the event. I found that I was much more productive. The 10 minutes, much more productive on site, engaging with humans, much more productive digitally, just absorbing information. That would be my summary. So,
great insight.
So that's it. That's our 10 minutes. Next week, we're going to go to the normal format. We will have a session each week. We will bring guests on as time permits. But for this week, thank you so much, everyone. We'll see you in 2 weeks' time.
Great. Hope to see everyone live again one day.
All right. Thanks so much. We'll speak soon. Cheers. Bye.